Good afternoon, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to bring you a roundup of the latest stories from around the world, the U.S. and the world. And we're going to be taking your comments and questions on the air. So you can write to me during the broadcast at Lookner on Twitter is where to reach me, at Lookner on Twitter. And thanks so much to our moderators. Really appreciate our moderators being in our chat rooms. Thank you, moderators. Okay, I want to begin. I just saw something right as we were about to come on the air, so I want to explore this. Give me 1 second here. But I just saw something right when we were coming on the air, like 5 seconds before. So let me get this up on the screen here. Okay, here we go. Nearly 200 members of the National Guard deployed to Washington in the days leading up to the inauguration have tested positive for coronavirus. Now, I think about 25,000 troops were in D.C., so that would be a little less than 1% of the troops. So, just to be clear. But let's see what it is. COVID contracted by scores of National Guard members in Washington. Let's see what this says. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Nearly 200 members of the National Guard deployed to Washington in the days leading up to the Wednesday's presidential inauguration have tested positive for coronavirus. And some officials fear cramped rest and working quarters contributed to the spread. Approximately 26,000 were there from all 50 states. Okay. Images have emerged of hundreds of troops inside the Capitol or other sites, sometimes close together and occasionally not wearing masks. Okay. Every guardsman deployed to D.C. was screened for COVID before arriving, but not all were tested, and rest required under the screening process. So I hope we don't hear about a lot more. You know, I hope we don't hear that a lot more test positive and that a lot of them spread it to each other, because certainly a lot of them were in close quarters to each other. You know, and that's also concerning because then they go out, you know, back across the country and hang out with whoever they're hanging out with, and can spread it to people that they know. Maybe, you know, I'm sure a lot of the National Guard members are going to be young and less likely to have severe illness, but they can spread it to other people as well. So I'll let you know if I hear more on that. But I hope the people who got it are doing okay. Okay. Another virus story I wanted to mention is this. This one here. Miss Sal says they were sleeping on the floor together. Yeah, you know, again, I don't know the specifics as to how people got it. It's just, you know, with that many people, when you have people, lots of people in close quarters, indoors, there's a risk of a lot of spread. Salon Girl says, will be interesting to see how many attendees of inauguration got it. I mean, the inauguration attendees were pretty spread out. The chairs were spread out from each other, and it was also outdoors. So that would be less of a risk than people being crowded together indoors. You know, unfortunately, I'm guessing that, you know, during the riot, many people could have gotten it there too, because you had a lot of people there without masks, indoors, in very close quarters. Also, I mean, a lot of the security was in very close quarters too, protecting the Capitol. So who knows how many people got it then? Thanks, Perpetual Now, for the super hearts, by the way. All right, so this story came out today, and what happened is the British government says there's some evidence. It's not clear yet, but there's some evidence that the quote unquote UK variant, the new variant that's been prominent in the UK of the virus, may be more deadly, but it's not clear. It's not clear. So this is from BBC. Early evidence suggests the variant of the virus that emerged in the UK may be more deadly. However, said the Prime Minister, however, there still remains huge uncertainty around the numbers, and vaccines are still expected to work on this variant. The data comes from mathematicians comparing death rates in people infected with either the new or old versions of the virus. Let's see here. Previous work suggests the new variant spreads between 30 and 70% faster than others, and there are hints it is about 30% more deadly. For example, with 1,000 60-year-olds infected with the old variant, 10 of them might be expected to die, but this rises to about 13 with the new variant. The difference is found when looking at everyone testing positive for the virus, but analyzing only hospital data has found no increase in the death rate. Hospital care has improved over the course of the pandemic as doctors get better at treating the disease. The Pfizer and Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine are both expected to work against the UK variant. However, Sir Patrick, who is... Let me just tell you exactly who that is. Sir Patrick Vallance, the government's chief scientific advisor, says, Sir Patrick said there was more concern about the two other variants that had emerged in South Africa and Brazil. He said they have certain features which means they might be less susceptible to vaccines. They are definitely of more concern than the one in the UK at the moment, and we need to keep looking at it and studying this very carefully. So, this is something that's going to be studied more, but there's some initial evidence suggesting that the UK variant might be 30% more deadly. History Underfoot says, I do not like hearing more deadly. Dart Q says, this pandemic is far from over. Rick Hoppy says, I live in LA County. He heard that 30% of residents have had COVID. I haven't heard that. I'm not saying it's false. Feel free to send me a link if you have an article about that, Rick. Thank you, Rick. Mr. Jingles says they don't know about the Brazilian variant, though. Yeah, I mean, the article talks about that, how it's not clear how that's going to, one big question about the Brazilian variant is whether vaccines will work less well on it. Regarding the National Guard story, our viewer Idea2Go says, did 100% of the Guard members get tested? Or is 200 cases the tip of the iceberg? I don't know. I don't know if all of the National Guard members who were working in D.C. have been tested recently, like in the last few days. Nearly 200 members have tested positive. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say if they've all been tested. Angry Ewok says, Brazil variant have some people scared. You can reach me on Twitter @LookNerd. Eddie Jones says, I wonder how many people, I think Eddie means at the Capitol riot, now have COVID. We won't ever know. No, you won't ever know. Both because I'm guessing no one will do this exhaustive study of how many of them have COVID, but also, all of them might not get tested, and also it might not be clear where they picked it up if they have it. I found a comment on that story from, I like Kai Kupferschmidt, who is a science journalist who writes a lot about the virus. Kai Kupferschmidt said, reports that the UK variant may be 30% deadlier than other variants is very concerning, but it also comes with lots of caveats at this stage. As so often, Truth is that we don't yet know for sure. Let's wait as the data comes in. We know what we have to do anyway. So I'll certainly keep you posted about if we hear more about that. So that was going on. Oh, also this happened. I think we might be covering this tonight. Mega Millions jackpot reaches $1 billion, becoming second largest ever. I think we might do coverage of this. I had said that if it reaches $1 billion, we'll cover it. So I think we're going to do coverage of this tonight on Agenda Free TV. I think the drawing is at 11, so we'll probably come on at like 10. If a lucky player wins, this will mark the second largest jackpot in Mega Millions history and the third largest in U.S. history, Mega Millions lottery officials said. This is from ABC News. But it is now $1 billion. If you go to their site, it says 1 billion. 1 billion. $1 billion. So yeah, I had said that if it reaches $1 billion, I'll cover it, because at a certain point, when it's a big enough jackpot, it becomes, like a new. I think it becomes a news event. So, unless we're covering something else, I'll probably come on and cover this tonight. What time did they stop selling tickets? That's a good question. There's a deadline in every state, maybe. Per Business Insider, the deadline to buy a ticket in every state. Now, this is 2018. This isn't current. But yeah, different states have different times, different deadlines. So, at least as of 2 years ago. So that's happening. It's weird, a couple years ago it reached $1 billion in 2018. And I remember there wasn't a pandemic going on, so I would actually be out in the world. And I really got the sense, like in 2018 when it happened, it became like a cultural event. Like I think a lot of people who normally wouldn't care about it actually were following it because of the number, So, at a certain point it gets so big it becomes a big cultural event. I can't confirm that's happening this time because I'm not out in the world. I'm basically just isolating at home as much as I can. So I don't really have the same sense. Let's see here. Hang on one second. Salon Girl says in Texas it's 15 minutes before drawing. I mean, I just remember being like a couple years ago, being at the grocery store at a Publix, and like the line was just the day of the drawing, and the line was just full of people, huge long line of people, when normally there wouldn't be any line at all. Hey guys, I'm really sorry. I know we just came on the air. I just need 1 minute. Give me 1 minute, and I'll be right back in 1 minute, and we will continue our live coverage. Okay, we are back. I am sorry about that. Yeah, no, I did not just go get tickets. I ran down to the convenience store to get tickets. No. By the way, I in no means am covering the story. Do not take my covering the story as encouraging anyone to do it, to gamble. The odds are exceedingly small of winning this thing, right? So I am mentioning it as a news story, not as a promotion. A news story / cultural event. Claire Casing says, I figure I save $365 every year I don't play. Hey, thanks to our moderators. We got Mark Helton and Lamar Watkins and Melissa Alicia, and Angel Shark. They are all there in our YouTube chat. Thank you. Rusty G is there as well. We have Misha moderating in our Periscope chat. Thank you, Miss Misha. Thank you also to our Twitch and Facebook moderators. Yeah, I can show you the odds, actually. I should. Tariag is moderating on Twitch. Thank you. Thanks to our Facebook moderators, too. Roxanne Betke is moderating there. I think Krista Borden might be there as well. And let's see here. Yeah, here's the odds right here. If you go to the Mega Millions site, the odds of winning the jackpot are 1 in 300 million. 1 in 300 million. Basically, it'd be like if everybody in the U.S. went into a big room, which is just crazy because, the room would have to be insanely big. But if everyone in the U.S. went into a big room and they picked one person, that's a misleading example because it makes you think of a smaller number. Basically, it's like it's the odds of being like the one person out of all the people in the U.S. because there's about 340 million people in the U.S. So it's like if they put everybody's name of the U.S. into a, like I don't know how big it would have to be, a computer program. And they said the computer program is going to randomly select one name. I mean, that's the odds. Some people were asking how much it costs. I don't even remember. It's been so long. Oh, no. Most states offer a multiplier feature to increase non-jackpot prizes. Cost an additional $1. The multiplier doesn't affect if you win the jackpot. It costs $2 to play. There you go. $2 to play. Okay. Do people get the sense that that is like is this something people are talking about around the country? Because I know it was a huge deal 2 years ago. Is this something that people are actually paying attention to? So, I Am Goddard talks about the risk of standing in a lottery line and getting COVID. You can actually someplace you can buy it online. I do wonder if fewer people are playing because it requires you to go somewhere physically. Jeff says, I've only heard about it from you. Sarah Joy says, no one I know is talking about it. Maybe it's less of a big deal. Maybe it's a lot less of a big deal. Or maybe we're just not in tune with what people are talking about. Janice Key Smith said, my high school probability and statistics course prevented me from ever having any temptation to gamble. Salvatore says, I buy mine online. Matt Machine says, I remember more people talking about it in 2018 too. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we won't cover it. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure I'm covering it. So we'll see. We'll see. Lisa Renee says COVID is a distraction, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, maybe because there's the virus going on, that's kind of, there's less attention being paid to it. We'll see. Okay. Oh, we should talk about this. We should talk about this GameStop story. I want to talk about that. Oh, Rick Hoppy sent me this, by the way. Rick mentioned this earlier. 1 in 3 LA County residents has had COVID, new estimate shows. 1 in 3 Los Angeles County residents has had the virus, according to new estimates by county scientists. How about that? That's more than triple the cumulative number of cases that have been confirmed by testing. Right. Officials have long believed testing only captures a certain percentage of those who are infected because many with the virus don't show symptoms or suffer only mild symptoms. Fair enough. That's interesting. Thank you, Rick. Oh, I actually retweeted this a few days ago. I forgot that I retweeted it. This is from January 13th. LA County officials estimate 1 in 3 people in the county have been infected with the virus since the pandemic began. Salvatore, the drawing is at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. Let's talk about this. So GameStop stock has been very volatile the last couple days. GameStop. There's been some crazy stuff going on with GameStop stock. Now, this is the last 5 days of GameStop. GameStop sells, like, it's a video game retailer. So you can see the price the last 5 days. You see it's like 35 or so, 40. And then all of a sudden, today it went up almost 70% in one day. And then they briefly stopped the trading on it. I guess it triggered some kind of stop when it went up so much so fast. Then it went down. Then it went down from around, what was it here? $70 to $55. So then it dropped about over 20% in like a couple hours, and now it's back up to 65. But you might wonder, why is this happening? So there's some different articles on it. But it's not because some new amazing news came out with the stock. It has to do with more technical things, like possibly people sell. There's some articles that say it's a short squeeze, where people who bet against the stock start having to buy the stock. We'll talk about that shortly. But if people bet against the stock and the stock starts going up, then those people betting against the stock might want to buy the stock to get out of their bet, and that pushes the stock up further. So that's one thing. But I'll show you some articles on it. But it's kind of crazy. Let's see here. Here's a CNBC one. GameStop soars nearly 70%. Trading briefly halted amid epic short squeeze. GameStop soared as high as 69.4% in one day, just in a few hours, to a high of 72.88, bringing its gains to more than 100% this week alone. GameStop has more than 138% of its float shares sold short, the single most shorted name in the U.S. stock market. Selling short is basically when you bet on a stock to go down. The stock initially jumped higher last week after the company announced that Chewy co-founder and former CEO Ryan Cohen is joining its board. Wall Street's most hated stock, GameStop, surged again Friday as the massive short squeeze continued to fuel its explosive rally. That's today. This is Thursday. That's Thursday, and that's today. Thursday, Friday, whoop, went up about 70% in a few hours. Let's see here. Trading in GameStop was halted multiple times today due to high volatility. The stock closed the day up 51.1%. GameStop is the most shorted name in the stock market, meaning the most people bet against it. The stock initially jumped higher last week after the company announced that Chewy co-founder and former CEO Ryan Cohen is joining its board. No, wait. If I go to the actual, let me get you the stock chart. We'll look at last week too. 1 month. So last week it was at 20. It was at 20 10 days ago. Then it went up last week from 20 to 40. It basically doubled. And then today it went up. Now it's at 65. So it's more than tripled in 10 days. Okay. Let's see here. Short seller Citron Research has been vocal about the stock, saying buyers at these elevated levels are the suckers at this poker game. According to a Tuesday tweet, Citron said GameStop will fall back to $20 a share fast. On Friday, Citron said it would no longer be commenting on GameStop any longer because of attacks from the angry mob that owns the stock. I guess a bunch of Redditors are buying the stock too. Well, I'll show you some more about this. But just so you know what a short squeeze is, as my understanding is, so when you short a stock, you bet against the stock. And what you do, if I'm getting this right, is you borrow shares of the stock and you agree to give them back, right? So you borrow shares of the stock and then you agree to give them back. How does this work? Then if the stock goes down, do you when you borrow, do you temporarily buy them? Basically you're on. Basically, you have to give back you borrow shares and you have to give them back. And if the stock price goes down while you're borrowing these shares, then you can buy them more cheaply and give them back to the original person and keep the difference. But if the stock starts going up, like say you short sell 100 shares of the stock, that means you borrow 100 shares of stock and you agree to give it back. So basically what you have to do is you have to, at some point, give those buy 100 shares of the stock and give it back to the person who gave it to you. If you've borrowed 100 shares of the stock and the stock price starts going up, well, you have to give those 100 shares back. So if the stock keeps going up, then it's going to cost you more and more and more and more to give back, to buy those shares so you can give it back to the person who loaned them to you. That's the basic idea. So as my understanding is, your losses are infinite in that if the stock keeps going up, it's going to cost you more and more and more and more and more to buy the stock and give it back to the person who loaned it to you. So what you do is, what will happen is if the stock price starts going up, then people who've bet against it will want to buy it. If they think it's going to keep going up, they're going to want to say, I'm out, I'm done. And they want to just buy the shares and give them back to the person who loaned it to them and be done with their whole bet on it going down. But if people who've bet against the stock are now buying the stock to cover their losses and to get out, that's going to be buying pressure on the stock, and it's going to push the stock up further. Push the stock price up further. So when they say short squeeze, what they're basically saying is people who have bet against the stock are seeing it going up in value, and they want to get out because the more it goes up, the more money they lose. So they're going to, the way they get out of their bet against the stock is to buy the stock and give it back to the person who loaned it to them. But that will cause the stock price to go up further, if that makes sense. I know it's very confusing. No, look, and I'll show you the article. I'll show you articles about this. But yes, no, you do borrow stocks. I Am Goddard is lecturing me saying you don't borrow stocks. So I Am Goddard, in 5 seconds, I'll show you multiple articles that say you do borrow stocks when you short stocks, and then you can apologize for yet lecturing me in capital letters. Oh, look. Oh, I Am Goddard, look. Investopedia. Short sellers borrow shares of an asset. Oh, that's interesting. Hey, I Am Goddard, that's interesting. Rather than do 5 seconds of research, you'd rather yell at me in capital letters about something you are 100% wrong about. Investopedia says right here, short sellers borrow shares. That's interesting, I Am Goddard, isn't it? Wow, that's interesting. Boy, I will say this, it was kind of hard to find. It took me 7 seconds to research it. So I do understand that maybe you couldn't figure it out by researching it, because it took 7 seconds. Just unbelievable. The people who lecture you the most are usually the most wrong about things. It's just unbelievable. Okay, let's read about this. Short squeeze. What is a short squeeze? A short squeeze occurs when a stock or other asset jumps sharply higher, forcing traders who had bet on that its price would fall to buy it in order to forestall even greater losses. That scramble to buy only adds to the upward pressure of the stock's price. A short squeeze accelerates a stock's price rise as short sellers bail out to cut their losses. Short sellers borrow shares of an asset that they believe will drop in price in order to buy them after they fall in price. If they're right, they return the shares and pocket the difference between the price when they initiated the short and the actual share price. If they're wrong, they're forced to buy at a higher price and pay the difference between the price they set and its sale price. When a stock unexpectedly rises in price, the short sellers may have to act fast to limit their losses. And then there's more details in here, but so anyways, the point here is that there's reporting that the reason, maybe the big reason that GameStop went up so much today, it wasn't because there's some huge fundamental good news about the company. Like, if a pharmaceutical company announces they've developed a cure for some important disease, well, then their stock's going to go way up, right? Because there's something fundamental about the business that's changed. That didn't happen today. Rather, it looks like the big reason according to some articles I've read, like this one, the big reason for it going up, or a big reason for it going up, is this short squeeze. I'll show you a couple other articles about it. But there's also this thing about like Redditors too. I'll show you that too. Where's that? I saw an article about that. Right. Where is it here? GameStop record run gives win to Reddit army in Citron clash, from Bloomberg. In the battle between short seller Citron Research, who was betting against the stock, betting on the stock to go down, and an army of Reddit-charged day traders, GameStop Corp's seemingly endless rally to an all-time high has given the stock's bullseye win, not without controversy. This is from Bloomberg. GameStop's 83% gain through Friday comes after it more than doubled the week before and marks the most volatile 10-day period on record. Reddit users continued to pump up their bets, with one user saying they relied on it to pay their student loans. So I guess there's a bunch of people on Reddit buying the stock and promoting the stock. A backlash against Citron, who has bet against the stock and been saying bad things about the stock by some vocal Reddit users over its views on GameStop, came to a head on Friday when the short seller said it will stop commenting on the stock following the actions of an angry mob. Some Reddit users have been particularly vocal on the social media site in seeking to promote their positive opinions on the video game retailer's stock. Give me a shout. Let me know your thought. @Lookner on Twitter. Let me know. I'm sure a lot of you know a lot more about this story than I do. Richie says GameStop, the place where games are sold. Yeah, it's not like some obscure company. It's like a major video game realtor that has stores like all over the country, Gamestop. That's another funny thing about this story is it's not like some obscure company. It's like a company you'd think the price of GameStop would be pretty stable because, it's just a big well-known company. Jamie Houston says if you read the posts in our Wall Street bets, you'll see all the details. There was another article I saw about this I wanted to show you. Hold on. Uprocks. Look. Uprocks says GameStop stocks apparently soared because Reddit day traders are feuding with short sellers. So Reddit day traders would be people who use the online discussion boards Reddit. And day traders are people who kind of like jump in and out of stocks quickly to make money, right? Day traders. Day trader definition. A trader who executes a large volume of short and long trades to capitalize on intraday, within the day market price action. Wikipedia, day trading is a form of speculation in securities in which a trader buys and sells a financial instrument within the same trading day. Okay, so the Uprock says GameStop stocks apparently soared because Reddit day traders are feuding with short sellers who are betting against the stock. GameStop stock is doing better than ever thanks to a fight between day traders on Reddit and an investment company that thinks they're all fools. GameStop was for sale in 2018. And the shifting industry of buying and selling video games has made it less essential to gamers, especially as downloads become the norm and the world continues to endure a pandemic. All of that was why the stock price was so low to begin with. But it became a bit of a pet project for Reddit day traders who invested in the stock of the company and have sparked a roaring comeback. You can see here, GameStop was halted for trading today after sales surged around 69% in the middle of the day. That's from Bloomberg. According to Bloomberg, the volatility is in part because of a Reddit campaign to pour huge amounts of money into the stock. As Bloomberg's reporting and many others have pointed out, the stock price of GameStop is now no longer tied to what the company is actually doing, even a little bit. Prices for these things often reflect news about the overall health of the company, but GameStop is up 226% in January, according to Bloomberg, for doing little more than becoming a topic of interest online among day traders. Professionals on Wall Street are lining up to reap the benefits once the prices fall. Uprocks thinks the price of GameStop appears to be a get-rich-quick scheme that's actually working. For some, for now at least. Let me know your thoughts at Lookner on Twitter. Jeff Haas says the stock market has been decoupled from earnings since April. It's a very interesting story. Questella says there's GameStops freaking everywhere. Hey, thanks, by the way, to Saj. Saj says, for your support, Saj1913, Saj says, look up national resorts in the 80s. That is the most real-life example of short squeeze. I also want to look up short selling, too, just to get the exact details of how that works. It's complex. I can't find. I looked up National Resorts short squeeze. I can't find it. Is there something different? Look, National Resort short squeeze. Nothing comes up. Is there a different name of the company? Hey, thank you, Polly. I appreciate your support, Polly. Thank you. Ugh. Wave Shaper says Redditor is causing trouble. Miss Misha wonders if day traders can also be short sellers. I guess they could be. It's two different things, though. When you short a stock, you're betting the price will go down. I don't believe that, but that doesn't. You don't have to be shorting a stock for. You don't have to be betting on it to go down the same day. The definition of day trader is about people who buy and sell positions in the same stock on the same day. But you can be you can bet against the stock and not have it be that you're going to sell it, that you're going to win or lose on the same day. Matrix Lee said, due to the Citron review of the stock upcoming, lots of people shorted it, but the Citron review was lackluster. Hey, thanks, Sonic, for your support. I appreciate that, Sonic. Thank you. Let me show you, just for the fun of it, about short selling, how that works. I think it's interesting. To see if I can find a simple description of this. Miso Hungry, I'm removing your comment. I'm removing your comment, Miso Hungry, because you're somehow implying that the vaccine killed Hank Aaron. No. No, I'm not allowing comments in the chat that are somehow implying, with a lack of any kind of science behind it, that the vaccine is killing people. Now, if you want to produce for me some kind of study by respected science that says that presents evidence and that the vaccine is more deadly than anticipated, well, that's different. But if you're just going to post garbage like that, somehow with no science behind it, implying that Hank Aaron was killed by the vaccine, no. That's awful misinformation. It's harmful for society, and you should be ashamed of yourself for posting that. So no. Watch it. If you want to keep watching the channel, don't do it again. It's ridiculous. You should know better after watching the channel. You've watched the channel before. You know we don't allow that here. Let's see, here's a description of short selling from Investopedia. If an investor thinks Tesla is overvalued at $6.25 per share and is going to drop in price, the investor may borrow 10 shares of Tesla from their broker, who then sells it for the current price of $6.25. If the stock goes down to $500, the investor could... the one thing I'm confused about is how the borrowing works. It doesn't really explain it here. The investor sells it. So I guess maybe the borrowing works like this. It's not that a person gives you shares. Or is this who then sells it? So does the person shorting sells it, right? I'm a little see, it doesn't explain well how the borrowing works. In theory, you could borrow somebody's shares, sell them at the current price, and then when it's time to return the shares, if the stock is lower, you buy them back at the lower price and you keep the difference. That makes sense to me, but I don't know if it actually works that way. Truck says it's more of a contract than borrowing. Jamie Houston says it's just an agreement to buy or sell shares before the date is due. Let's try this one. I've done this before where I look up short selling and it's hard to find a good explanation. See, it says borrows shares of stock. What does borrows mean? The balance. Suppose you believe the stock price of ABC is grossly overvalued and the stock's going to crash sometime soon. You believe this so strongly that you decide to borrow 10 shares of stock from your broker and then you sell them at $50 each, pocketing $500 in cash. So you now have $500 in cash and an obligation to purchase and return the 10 shares of the stock. So that makes sense, but I don't know if that actually really happens. Again, maybe it's just all done contractually or something. But the idea would be is that you borrow somebody's shares, you sell those shares, and then if the stock price goes down, then you can buy back the shares more cheaply and with less. You can buy back the shares with some of the money you made when you sold the shares, and then you keep the difference. But if the stock goes up, well, now you got to buy back those shares so you can give it back to the person who loaned it to you, but they cost more than when you initially sold them. But I don't think the borrowing actually happens from what the viewers are saying. So I don't know the technical way that works. That's the general idea you can see the articles say. Matrix Lee said you explained it right. At least the basic idea. Anyways, all right, enough about short selling. Enough about short selling. By the way, Hank Aaron did die, which I think a lot of you have probably heard right now. One of the greatest baseball players of all time, 86 years old. Condolences to his family. Shadow Rider says, Hammer and Hank. Wow. Read is Real just bought her first lottery ticket. Hoping for some Look Nerd luck. Good luck, Read is Real. Hey, don't blame me if you don't win, though. As I mentioned, I was not talking about it to promote it. I was just talking about it as a news event. Sue Baker says, rest in peace, Hank Aaron, the true legend of baseball. By the way, a little update here. Ryan Struck says, according to CNN, 19 million doses of the vaccine have been administered in the United States. Now, that's doses. Remember, a person needs 2 doses to be fully vaccinated. 19 million doses. Murkow says, no asterisk by Hank's name in the MLB record books. Up, once again, what does somebody ask? What does somebody ask every stream? Every stream we do on Agenda Free TV 2, what is the question somebody asks? Can you remember what the question is? What is that question? What is that question that I always get asked? Can somebody get it? Someone will get it. Yes, Nate Skate, why are you not live? Rachel, why aren't you live on YouTube? Exactly. A viewer just wrote me saying, I don't see you live on YouTube. It will never end. I have to send them a link. I can't send them a link. I don't see you live on YouTube. It's because there's 2 channels. I have 2 YouTube channels. Hold on, I need to send this person a link now. Hold on. So I'm assuming the person's watching. But look, there are 2 YouTube news channels, Agenda Free TV and Agenda Free TV 2. We're on Agenda Free TV 2. Two channels on YouTube. 2 channels on YouTube. This is 2. So you need to subscribe to both. But it's live on Agenda Free TV 2. All right, should I write back to this person? Hang on. Let me do it this way. Let me just do it this way. Hang on one second here. Okay, I got that done. I'm going to stop all the stream just to write back to this person. You never know. Maybe they'll tell somebody else. What just happened here? Now I can't. It's so hard. Why is it so hard? I don't think I can write back to them. For some reason, I can't find their... Here we go. Here we go. I found it. I got it. Oh, he says, I hear you mention the second channel. I'm going to send him the link right now. I just replied to him. He said, I searched Agenda Free TV on YouTube. I didn't find it. Does it not come up when you see it when you search Agenda Free TV? If you search live, Agenda Free TV, search. Okay. Now let's filter for live. Live. There it is right there. It's right there. You got to filter for live. Comes up in search. Right there. Okay. Dawn just got a ticket. Why do I have 2 channels? I get that question all the time too. Might I direct your attention to the hour-long video about this on Agenda Free TV? There's an hour-long video about it. Go to Agenda Free TV. Look, it's there. It's there. Here you go. Introducing Agenda Free TV 2, second channel, more coverage. It's an hour long. You can go watch it and get your whole explanation there. Okay. Salvatore says, again, Agenda Free TV 2. Yes, it is incredible viewer service. I agree with you. It is. All right, give me a shout at Lookner on Twitter if you have comments on stuff. AC Life sent me the link to our Wall Street bets. I'm not going to go through this now. AC Life says our Wall Street bets is the group responsible for the GameStop going up. I have no idea. Some other viewers mentioned it too. Thank you, AC Life. Ufi sent me this. No, Adam Classfield reports no bail for charged rioter who prosecutors claim helped drag an officer down the U.S. Capitol steps, tried to flee to Switzerland, and then attempted suicide. Judge, his case is deeply troubling. Thanks for the link. Law and crime. Rioter who helped drag officer down U.S. Capitol steps tried to flee to Switzerland. Feds. A man who helped drag a police officer down the U.S. Capitol steps tried to flee to Switzerland after the day of the siege, and then, in what authorities called a different type of flight effort, attempted suicide, prosecutors told a judge on Friday. Jeffrey Patrick Sable, a 51-year-old divorced geophysicist with 3 children, has not been charged with assault, but rather under a civil disorder statute barring any effort to obstruct, impede, or interfere with law enforcement. Sable was ultimately denied bail as requested by the defense. Sable, or no, it's Sable. Assistant U.S. Attorney Benjamin Gianforti claimed that Sable was caught on tape by the Washington Post helping a mob drag an officer down these Capitol steps and bought a ticket to Zurich, Switzerland, a country that rarely extradites people to the United States. I think his suicide attempt can be taken as consciousness of guilt, Gianforti said. The government also shot back hard at the defense's argument that Sable proposed no risk of flight because he wanted to stay with his family. If he was so serious about staying with his family, why did he attempt to go to Zurich? Gianforti asked rhetorically. Why did he try to take his life? Why was he at the Capitol for that matter? Sable was arrested inside Westchester Medical Center, where he was allegedly recovering from his suicide attempt at 8 a.m. this morning. The judge noted that Sable can be seen dragging a police officer along with a group of others who then proceed to attack the officer. Thank you for sending that in. I had not seen that yet. Jeannie P. says he panicked, became irrational, and out of touch with reality. There's a CNBC, Kyle Clark posted about this. He's with 9 News. He quotes this article saying Colorado geophysicist Jeffrey Sable was in a fit of rage when he dragged a police officer to be viciously beaten by a man with an American flag during the Capitol insurrection per prosecutors. This is from CNBC. Capitol rioter Jeffrey Sable dragged cop to be beaten by American flagpole in a fit of rage, prosecutor says. Sable admitted to being in a fit of rage during the attack on the cop and told authorities that his memory from much of the rest of the day on January 6th is foggy, said the prosecutor. Our viewer, Fran Stein, says, a guy that smart doing something so dumb. Linda did not get a Discord alert. Linda Burnbike, one went out. I recommend having multiple ways to get alerts. Also, Agenda Free TV on Twitter, at Agenda Free TV. I always post there when we're going on the air, at Agenda Free TV, right? So I always post here at Agenda Free TV. And there's also the Discord notifications, which usually work really well. That's the best way to get notified when I'm coming on the air to cover news. The mods can post a link to that. It's also at the bottom of the YouTube video description. It's free. Discord notifications. Lynn L. says, threw his life away over lies. Wave Shaper thinks he is going to prison for a long time. Federal prison. John W. Harvey says, more excuses than a child who has just got his hand caught in the cookie jar. He had 3 kids, but he bought a ticket to Switzerland. Wilglow thinks he is a coward. Saj said, did they flag his passport? Is that how they found him? I don't know how they, well, it looks like they had videos and then identified him from that. As to how they tracked him down, I'm not sure. This is interesting. Sumya says, officials say that if vaccine doses, are given to LA County at the same pace they have been so far, vaccinations will take well into 2022 to complete. If the shipments to LA County double in size, as officials hope they will, vaccinations in the county could be complete by 2021. Hopefully the vaccine distribution starts picking up. Oh, I saw that there's going to be a bunch of FEMA vaccination sites. FEMA would operate up to 100 federally run mass vaccination sites under Biden plan. Washington Post. Up to 100 sites run by FEMA could begin offering virus vaccine within the next month, part of a strategy that would dramatically expand the federal government's role in the effort to corral the pandemic. President Biden announced his plan on his first day in office. Enlisting FEMA, an agency of the Department of Homeland Security, is among the clearest signals that Biden intends to involve the federal government more directly in the administration of vaccines, instead of leaving the final step of the massive effort to state and local authorities. A lack of abundant vaccine supply will remain the most pressing problem probably through March. Okay. The draft outlines 4 possible sizes for federally administered sites. The largest, called the Mega Model, would be able to administer 6,000 doses a day, but require a space at least as large as 15,000 square feet. Martin says 764 new deaths in California. Yeah, the California deaths today were a record, but there's some other signs that things might be improving there. One of our Nicole Wilson sent me an article about that before. I'll show you that. Fox 40, California reports daily death toll of 764. But the rate of new infections is falling, from Fox 40. So biggest death toll for a day in California, but hospitalizations and newly confirmed cases have been falling. And health officials are growing more optimistic that the worst of the latest surge is over. However, who knows what happens if, for example, one of these new variants starts spreading more widely? It could surge again. The 23,000 new cases reported in California Friday are less than half the mid-December peak of nearly 54,000. The positivity rate for people being tested has dropped by 15% in the last week. Lizzie says, I'm so sick of bad news, my anxiety can't handle anymore. I hope we get this crap under control soon. What was I going to show you? Oh. See, we've had some viewers also mention the Canada vaccine shortage stuff. Some viewers keep mentioning that. Buccaneer says, more bad news to come before it gets better. Here's an article from Reuters on that. Canada's Trudeau presses Pfizer CEO on vaccine shortage. Pfizer, which is retooling a European manufacturing plant, told Canada on Tuesday it would receive no vaccine next week, promising more pain for provinces already complaining about a shortage of supplies. Pfizer also said it would cut supplies to the European Union. Not cupcakes. I showed the article from Nicole Wilson. This article from Fox 40. That was the one Nicole sent me. Yes, see Michelle Sparks. Florida yesterday announced that you had to be a full or part-time resident to get the vaccine there. Mr. Showtime says, why can't they share the vaccine ingredients with other companies to make to help? So it's a fair question, but a couple things. I'm guessing, first of all, I'm guessing part of it might be that they don't want to, it's the other companies haven't been licensed to make it, right? They would have to be approved to make it. So you could imagine, like, if it was a virus that literally killed people the moment they got it, right? And it was a matter of life and death, what would happen is if one company figured it out, there would be arrangements made for like others to manufacture it. But, I think you run into issues with like, who's making money off of it and also who's been approved to make it and that kind of thing. So I understand what you're saying. And I can't give you a great answer on that, but there's different reasons I could think of. I don't know if other companies also have the wherewithal to actually produce it. They might, on Pfizer's end, they might be restricted by the raw ingredients that they need. So maybe Pfizer, maybe it's possible that Pfizer is actually not limited by how much physical. Pfizer maybe could rent out more factories if they wanted to. I don't know, but I remember reading like a month ago an article about how Pfizer themselves was limited because they can only get they're limited by the amount of ingredients available, right? So maybe it's a good question. Can Pfizer, if they had enough ingredients available, could they just churn out way more of it? Would they even need any other company to help them? Could they pay another company to make it? That kind of thing. VF Star says, last thing we need is people getting sick from a vaccine that is not manufactured correctly. Kisei, I initially thought you said here in the Netherlands, pet shops are open, but only for takeaway. But you said pot shops. Still kicking says Ontario to not receive Pfizer vaccine until next week. Excuse given retooling plant. It's this interesting situation now, though, that the vaccines are out, and it's just, it's just now just a physical limitation on producing them fast enough. Hey, you're watching Agenda Free TV 2. We're giving you a news summary. We're taking your comments on the air. Really appreciate you watching. I want to say thanks to the moderators. They are awesome. They're all volunteers. We got Rusty G is there. Thank you. Mark Helton, Sarah Joy, Misha. Thank you. Roxanne Betke. Thank you. And Sully. Thank you, Sully. Hey, and thanks to the people who donated as well. Your support is what allows me to do my news coverage. So I obviously really appreciate that. Thank you. If you do like the coverage and you want to support the channel, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. And give me a shout on Twitter, @Lookner. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, Stuart Paul Newby, we already talked about this story before. We talked about this earlier, that the UK government said there's some evidence that the UK variant might be around 30% more deadly, but it needs to be studied more. So we'll wait for more detail on that. Thank you, Stuart, for writing in. Oh, thank you, Lovely Heaven, who says 6:30 a.m. in the Philippines. Good morning, world streaming people. Good morning to you, Lovely Heaven. All right, let me show you some other news here. Oh, I want to talk about the Russia protests. It'll be really interesting to see what happens. So these Alexei Navalny, the most prominent opposition figure pictured right there in Russia, he is opposed to Putin. Apparently it looks like the government tried to he was poisoned in an apparent attempt to kill him a few weeks ago, a couple months ago. I'm not sure exactly when it happened. Recently, he survived. He got treatment in Germany. He actually went back to Russia, but the evidence suggests that the government tried to have him killed. And he has called for people in Russia to go protest. He was arrested when he went back to Russia. He was thrown in jail. So he has called for people to protest Saturday. I think at, if I'm right, 2 p.m. Saturday in Russia, which would be. Russia has 11. Russia has, I think, 11 time zones, but Moscow, for example, is 8-hour time difference. So this would be, roughly speaking, about 6 a.m. Eastern time. But it's unclear how many people will show up. The authorities are really discouraging people from showing up, and they've detained, taken into custody Navalny allies. They're telling social media companies like TikTok to take down videos promoting the protests. So you can see here, authorities in Russia, says AP, have taken elaborate measures to curb protests against the jailing of opposition leader Alexei Navalny. Protests planned by his supporters for Saturday in more than 60 Russian cities. Navalny's associates in Moscow and other regions have been detained in the lead up to the rallies. Opposition supporters and independent journalists have been approached by police officers with official warnings against protesting. Universities and colleges in different Russian regions have urged students not to attend rallies, with some saying they may be subject to disciplinary action, including expulsion. So, Navalny supporters have called for nationwide demonstrations on Saturday to pressure the government into releasing the politician, but have come under pressure themselves. Look at this. On Friday, Russia's largest social network, vKontakte, blocked all the pages dedicated to the rallies. Russia's media watchdog announced it would fine social media companies for encouraging minors to participate in the protests. The move came amid media reports of calls for demonstrations and videos of school students replacing portraits of Putin in their classrooms with that of Navalny, going viral among teenagers on social network TikTok. Yeah, I've seen some clips of these videos from TikTok where you have kids or young people replacing the pictures in school of Putin with Navalny. So will people actually go out and protest? I mean, it looks like you're running a significant risk to yourself if you go protest. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's Saturday, I believe Saturday, 2 p.m. is the time for Russia. Something to keep an eye on. Hey, thank you so much, Linda Birdbike. That's very kind of you, Linda. I really appreciate it. And thanks for your kind words about the channel as well. Thank you, Linda. Much appreciated. Still kicking says start of revolution. I think they're a long way from that. I mean, there are certainly people who don't like Putin there. It's just there's such a tight control kept there on people protesting and expressing dissent. And I don't know that, that many people there are willing to take that risk at this point. Cryptician says, oh boy, Putin is really not going to like that. Navalny also, he just released this like full length, I think it's like 2 hours long. I was watching a little bit last night. He just released basically a movie on YouTube about Putin. And he argues in it that Putin has created this extravagantly expensive palace by misusing funds. So you can actually find it on YouTube. Let's see here if I can find it here. It has like 60 million views. It's weird when you say, I feel like it should come up faster when you search. Here it is, 63 million views. So this is Navalny's channel. You can watch it on YouTube. Putin's Palace, History of World's Largest Bribe, 63 million views. But this was just posted a few days ago. Posted 3 days ago. It has English subtitles too. It has English subtitles. So you don't need to know Russian to watch it. You watch it on YouTube. Here, look. Navalny releases investigation into decadent billion dollar Putin palace. They say Putin's property is estimated to be worth around $1.4 billion. CNN is not independently able to verify the FBK's claims. So here you can actually see, again, if you go to YouTube, if you want to see it, look up Putin's Palace, History of World's Largest Bribe. And again, it has English subtitles. See if I can find the subtitles for you. The one I was watching had the English subtitles. Yes, look, see, look. If you turn captions on, it'll give you English language captions. But 63 million views, I mean, last night I think it was like 56 million. So a lot of people are watching it. Oh, by the way, Texas Legends Brian is moderating too. Thank you. Mira says, I found Navalny's channel. That will be interesting to watch. Lovely Heaven says this story about Navalny is sad. Our viewer Leslie Austin Smith says, both UK and South Africa variants found in Nova Scotia last month just announced today scary. It's from CBC. 2 cases in December were found to be variants from UK, South Africa in Nova Scotia. Let's see here. So, you know, I'm assuming we'll see more and more of these variant cases around the world pop up. And then most people who get the virus, they don't do the testing about what kind of strain they have. So there might be a lot more of these variant cases floating around that we don't know about. Oh, I don't think we ever talked about this on the air. Just an update, because people kept messaging me about this. People wouldn't stop messaging me about this story, about the Moderna vaccine in California. Well, guess what? California, okay to use Moderna vaccine after illness reports. People kept messaging me about this and messaging me things like, they've said you can't use the Moderna vaccine anymore, which wasn't true. One batch of Moderna vaccine, there were fewer than 10 severe allergic reactions at one distribution site, one site. And to be cautious, the state said, well, don't use this batch of vaccine until we've looked into it. But now they've looked into it, and they say it's safe to resume using a batch of vaccine after some people fell ill and a halt to injections was recommended. This is from CBS 13. The decision frees up more than 300,000 doses. Fewer than 10 people had possible allergic reactions after receiving shots at a San Diego vaccination site. Officials say 6 people who got the vaccine at a mass vaccination site went into shock. But the state's epidemiologist said a safety review found no scientific basis to continue the pause. So just so you know. Sweetie B says, good to know they are keeping a close eye on things. ACL says the South Africa variant is possibly in the USA also. I don't know if it's been officially detected here. I wouldn't be surprised if it was here. All right, hang on one second here. Hey, see, somebody else, another news channel is posting about Mega Millions. $1 billion. Rusty G, there were no indications from, we read an article a couple days ago that said there were no reports of other severe reactions at other sites. Joe Arrow sent me this. This is it's not a huge story, but I saw this before. NBC Sports Network to shut down by the end of the year. The cable network, CNN Business, the cable network will cease operation and USA Network will begin carrying and or simulcasting certain NBC Sports programming. I'm sorry for you NBC Sports Network fans. Okay, so that happened. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? There was this whole story which came out last night about the Capitol, about the National Guard being forced to take their rest breaks. Like in a garage. Let's see if I can find that story here. National Guard troops who protected the Capitol for the inauguration were told to sleep in a parking garage. This has to do with their rest breaks. This is a New York Times article. National Guard troops brought in to protect the inauguration were ordered to sleep in an unheated garage hours after being booted from the Capitol, prompting an uproar among lawmakers who scrambled to move them back. Let's see here. A A representative with the National Guard said that the troops had been temporarily moved out of the Capitol on Thursday afternoon at request of the Capitol Police because of increased foot traffic as Congress came back into session. The acting chief of Capitol Police, however, said in a statement Friday morning the police did not tell the Guard to leave the Capitol except on Inauguration Day. So I don't know exactly what happened. 2 Guard soldiers said they had been relocated without explanation and that they were without electrical power, heat, or adequate restroom facilities. This is for where they take their breaks. I saw another reporting saying this is about where they would take their breaks, not where they would sleep after their shift was over. One soldier estimated there were 1,000 troops sharing one portable restroom outside the garage. The soldiers also said their fellow troops were breathing in exhaust fumes because the garage was still in use for parking. Captain Nieves said the garage did have heat and restrooms. So some different details here about this. C. Michelle Sparks says, finally fixed that, took them long enough. Let's see what this says. National Guard members allowed back at Capitol after they were banished to a parking garage. This is from Washington Post. The troops had been using the space at the Capitol to relax in between guard shifts, but relocating to the parking garage put them in close quarters with moving cars, exhaust fumes, few toilets, and troops potentially infected with the virus. The D.C. National Guard blamed the Capitol Police. The Capitol Police chief said the police did not instruct the National Guard to leave. The National Guard official did not resolve the contradiction in a Friday statement, but denied allegations made on social media that the request came from lawmakers. So I don't know what happens. The National Guard members have hotel rooms, but this is interesting. Soldiers are on duty for a day or two, working shifts a few hours at a time. Oh, this is actually helpful here. The guard members have hotel rooms, but soldiers are on duty for a day or two, working shifts a few hours at a time and cannot easily return to their hotels, many of which are in Virginia and Maryland. This is actually good to know. I hadn't heard that until now. So they nap wherever they can. I want to post like an update to my update yesterday. See if I can find my update last night. I'll do this. So I'll do this, and then I'll take this, and I'll cut this out here, and I'll do this, and I'll say this. A clarification of yesterday's clarification. A clarification of yesterday's clarification about the National Guard garage story. Because it was being reported last night that, like Chris Van Cleve said, after the shift, the troops do have hotels to sleep in. But according to the Washington Post, they have these multi-day shifts. So they really were having to sleep in the garage. Mark Helton says, I've slept in trees. Mark served. Thank you for your service, Mark. Nicole Wilson says, not acceptable to treat the guard this way. Miss Sal says they wouldn't still be there if they thought the threat was over, right? Yeah, I don't know exactly why. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason they're still there, but I don't know what the scheduling is and what the reasoning is exactly. Debbie says, thought they sent cots. They sent some cots there. I don't believe they sent enough for everybody in all places. Aggie says, my brothers slept in burnt out buildings, etc. It's really unfortunate that someone failed the logistics that badly or they were needed there at all. Steel Kicking, by the way, sent me this. Nearly 2 years worth of rainfall possible for parts of Southern California over the next week. From ABC7. I lived in LA for years, and it didn't rain much, but once in a while it would like go crazy for a week or two. And people couldn't really drive. People didn't know how to drive in the rain. When I lived in LA, I was twice rear-ended by people who, it was in the rain and they didn't know how to drive in the rain. So they would drive too fast and then not be able to stop. They weren't serious rear endings. It was like at a parking lot, at a stoplight, that kind of thing. Trillion says they moved them out of the Capitol because they want that building looking nice again. Now, somebody told them to get out, the National Guard troops. Soapbox Kingdom says it's their job, it's what they do for a living. These people sleep outside for practice. Bama Nation says that the Guard troops are staying until March because of the impeachment case. I have not heard that. Maybe that's true. John Harvey said DeSantis from Florida recalled his National Guard. Cindy Abedi Copsey says Texas too. Oh, this is like here's something. Lawmakers respond. Oh, let's respond. I haven't heard about Guard troops being recalled. I'm not saying it's not true. I haven't heard about it. Here's one. Governor DeSantis recalls Florida National Guard members. The governor tweeted saying he's ordered the state's adjutant general to bring back 600 Guard members. This comes on the back end of them trying to investigate the backgrounds of our guardsmen. Florida, we did not let them go into their political beliefs. I thought this was totally inappropriate. I thought it was disrespectful to people who are clearly patriots. DeSantis on Friday called the continued presence of the National Guard members at the nation's capital a half-cocked mission at this point and said the soldiers were not Nancy Pelosi's servants. This is from 10 Tampa Bay. If you want to read more, go to Ron DeSantis on Twitter. I guess he posted about it earlier. I'm looking for his post about it. I don't see it. Now I don't see it. Well, you can look at this story on 10 Tampa Bay. Linda says Governor Abbott in Texas did the same thing as well. I don't know if this is just like a purely political thing or not. I can't tell. Abbott orders National Guard troops back to Texas. Chris 6 News. After photos surfaced of Guard members resting and sleeping in a Washington, D.C. parking garage. Is that why he did it? I'm not sure. I don't know if that's the specific reason why he ordered them back. That's what his tweet says. Kay Gephardt says, terrible treatment of our troops unacceptable. I don't really know why that happened, but it seems pretty lame that it happened. Joe Biden today said that the virus death toll is expected to reach well over 600,000. That's certainly not surprising given the numbers we've been seeing and where we're at with the virus. I mean, it's over 400,000 now. That's from AFP. Space Force captain says Florida is bringing our guard home. Ooh, I didn't see this. AI6YR tweeted this out. I follow them. I didn't see this. A Mercedes-Benz soars off an LA freeway overpass and erupts into flames. NBC4 teams have been monitoring the crash all day. So there it is. That's like, I think that's downtown LA. I mean, what happened there? I don't know. See that? That's from NBC Los Angeles. Wonder if they have anything more about that. Terrible. A man was hospitalized in critical condition when his Mercedes-Benz flew off a downtown LA overpass. The crash was captured on a dash cam video. It was around 10:50 p.m. near the 6th Street exit that's right downtown in LA. And the driver was trapped inside. This person, Fernando Salazar, pulled over and tried to help get the man out of the burning car. He said the car struck palm trees, whipped around, and burst into flames. The guy was really tied down. He had a seatbelt on. He was trapped inside, so it was hard for me to get him out. Although, if he didn't have his seatbelt on, who knows? He might have died by flying out of the car or something. Firefighters arrived on scene and quickly freed the man and rushed him to a hospital in critical condition with burns and undisclosed injuries. Well, thoughts with him. Details of what led to the crash were not immediately available. Aggie says, impressed he lived. Rusty said he's alive, oof, lucky. I just retweeted the tweet if you want to see the video again. My Twitter's @Lookner. It's also on NBC4 Los Angeles. I don't know how that happened. How did he get off? How did he fly off? Is there like, I guess not, there's not a big railing up here? Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a big wall up there. You know, it looks like it's a pretty low railing, I think. Maybe a couple feet high. But still, it's kind of, I mean, it's so crazy. Underdog Rising says, I can't believe he survived. Texas Legends Brian, don't know how fast he was going. Roxanne believes he was speeding. Ivy Inkpen said President Trump made a comment today. I didn't hear that. I'm not saying it's not true, but I didn't hear it. Okay, so, Kalafa Kingston's watching from Hawaii. So I'm not sure if we're covering, I think I'll probably cover it's $1 billion. I'll probably cover the Mega Millions drawing. I mean, if it's $1 billion, $1 billion, right? The Mega Millions, I probably should cover it. I did say before that if it reached $1 billion, I would cover it. So that's tonight. The drawing's at 11 p.m. Roxanne says the police on scene said the guy was speeding. That's what Roxanne says. Study Power. Thank you, Study Power, for mentioning this. Study Power mentioned this, and thanks for your support, Study Power. Matt Hancock says South African variant could reduce vaccine efficacy by half. Could. Sky News. The coronavirus variant first identified in South Africa could reduce the efficacy of vaccines by half. He said the UK Health Secretary said Tuesday. He said there's evidence in the public domain, though, although we are not sure of the data. It's just not clear right now. It's just not clear. That's something that's being researched. So it's certainly something to keep an eye on, though. Thank you, Study Power. I appreciate it. Elizabeth G. said, looked like the driver was speeding. Yeah, this is another report on it from ABC 7. Doesn't say anything about speeding here, but who knows? You know, our viewer Darren says you could cover the jackpot on agenda-free TV too, not on agenda-free TV. It's an interesting thought. Interesting thought. Could do it on this channel. Misha says, that's good news. We didn't know if the vax would be helpful at all for it. I'll take it. Also, I don't really know what 50% means. What does 50% mean? Like it doesn't work at all for half the people? Or I guess the idea would be that rather than keeping most people from getting it, it will keep half the people from getting it. Okay, well, look, I think right now, I think I basically covered what I wanted to get to on this stream. So I think I might eat something. And then maybe we'll cover the drawing later, maybe. It is true that, though, we could cover it on this channel. I don't really want to cover the drawing on Lookner because it's more of a news event. So that's not really like a Lookner stream. But yeah, I'll think about it. I got to eat something. I got to get some food and think about it. That's what I need to do. Let me get some food. Let me eat something. So I really appreciate you joining this news stream. Be sure to subscribe. Misha thinks it makes more sense to do it on agenda-free TV too. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're on YouTube, oh, by the way, just an update about the impeachment trial. Trial will formally start the week of February 8th. That's from Igor Bobich. Trial will formally start week of February 8th, the impeachment trial. So, but subscribe to the channel so you know when we're coming on the air with news coverage. And remember, on YouTube, there are two channels. There's this one, and there's Agenda Free TV 2, and Agenda Free TV. Agenda Free TV is the main channel. So subscribe to both of them on YouTube. On the other platforms, it's just one channel, Agenda Free TV. Also, I do have a personal channel where I do some non-news videos, and that's only on YouTube. It's called Lookner. So you can check that out if you want. I really appreciate you watching the stream. Thanks so much to everybody who donated too. Your support is literally what allows me to cover news 7 days a week. Thanks to you, I can do it. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you. That's very kind of you. If you do want to donate to the channels, you could go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. And big thanks to our moderators too. Lamar Watkins. They're all volunteers, the moderators. They're awesome. Keeping the chat troll-free. Romar Watkins, Rusty G, Mark Helton, Sarah Joy, Misha, Texas Legends, Brian. Our Twitch and Facebook moderators too. Maddie Mags, Racing Neophyte, Rift Track, Sully. Roxanne Betke was moderating there. Thank you. And thanks to you guys for letting me read all your comments on the air and for sending in news stories. Much appreciated. Thanks for helping me do the coverage. Follow me on Twitter for breaking news. I post breaking news on my Twitter, @Lookner. There it is, @Lookner. And Agenda Free TV, to know when we're coming on the air, Agenda Free TV. And Discord, that's the best way to get notified when I'm going on the air to cover news. The Discord notifications. Sign up for those. They're free. You can find the link at the bottom of the YouTube video description. Also, the mods can post the link as well. And if anybody's interested in being a volunteer moderator, that would be awesome. Just ask the mods for more information. They can give you more information on that. All right, now we need to thank you guys. Hey, thanks to our viewers. Thanks to our Facebook viewers. Gretchen Elizabeth. Oh, Bud Green was moderating too. Thank you, Bud. Rita Pearl, Rochelle Ann. John W. Harvey, Nicolette Geese. Ivy Inkpen. Wanda Tucker. All of our Facebook viewers. Thank you, guys. Hey, thanks for watching in Twitch, too. Demonic Furry. Decoy Octopus. Old Leg. Old One Leg. Soapbox Kingdom. Frucar Toffine. Danger's Papa. V. Floiex. Riser. Ellieborn. Pizza Creep, Sim, and all of our other Twitch viewers. Thank you for watching there. Thank you also to our Periscope viewers. All right. ACL, CJSMFG, who is sewing some mess. Nice. Space Force Captain, Still Kicking, Debbie. Thank you to our Twitch viewers and our Periscope viewers and all of our other Periscope viewers. And thanks to our YouTube viewers, Ravenwood Alibaba, Kathleen Digo, Darren Markley, Sam Patton, C. Michelle Sparks, SC, Cryptician, Lizzie, Lisa Renee. Yeah, we might cover the if I'm not doing anything else, we might cover the drawing on this channel, on Agenda Free TV too. That might be a better idea. Maybe. Curtis Cardwell. Lovely Heaven. Kisei. Richie Cuna. Salon Girl. Boo Canier. Lovely Heaven. Miss Sal. C. Michelle Sparks. Brainy Jenny. Dart Q. Darren. Mira RV. Did I say Lovely Heaven? I'll say it again. Paula Faust, Kay Gebhardt, Sunshine in Arizona. Fran Stein, Amber E., Underdog Rising. Jeff, I think I said Salon Girl already, but Salon Girl again. Kimberly, Kisei. Rosemary Randolph. Tammy Lance, thank you. Thomas Dunlap. Griff. Soap McTavish. SC, who's been working on the cell. Cryptician. Did I say Twilla McCord? Thank you, Twilla McCord, for watching. All right, guys. I am wrapping it up. Again, appreciate you tuning in. If there's big news tonight, of course, I'll come back on the air. And we might do a stream about the lottery drawing. Couple people saying Lookner instead of lottery. No, it's my channel, so I get to do what I want to do. That's the way this works. Thank you. Thank you, Charles Goki, for your support. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate that, Charles Goki. Thank you. All right, guys. Wrapping it up. Oh, and thank you again, Perpetual Now, for these super hearts. Wrapping it up. We'll have more live streams soon. Thanks so much for watching our news roundup thing, and we'll see you soon with more live coverage at Agenda Free TV and Agenda Free TV 2.